DICE are upgrading the Battlefield engine. Gotham Knights announced some crushing news, G4 is dead again, and much more on Today in Gaming. Hey guys, LevelCap here. Battlefield Narrative Director Marcus Lehto revealed that some much-needed upgrades are in the works for the Frosbite engine that powers the franchise. Over the years, rumors and speculation have suggested that Frosbite is challenging to work with. Leaker Tom Henderson also claims senior developers familiar with the engine left DICE between Battlefield 1's release and 2042's production. This exodus of talent was relatively public, but the alleged unseen impact was that DICE just didn't have the time or skill needed to upgrade Frostbite to meet 2042's technical demands. Lehto's tweet suggested that DICE are finally building new tools and features for the engine that will hopefully make it easier to work with while also keeping pace with competitors like Unreal Engine 5 and Unity. It's no secret Battlefield maps can take a year or longer to build. General manager of the studio Oscar Gabrielson revealed that it takes between 6 and 12 months to make a Battlefield map, depending on its complexity. And while the engine upgrade is good news, another tweet by Lehto suggests it might not lead to the wealth of content players are expecting. He asked if players would prefer more maps and variety in large and small layouts, or fewer locations with less variety but more unique locations. It's a bit of an awkward question, but it suggests that the franchise doesn't have unlimited resources to make just tons of epic maps. It's worth noting that the studio Lehto oversees is working on a narrative campaign set in the Battlefield universe, so his question probably isn't specific to their work since they aren't developing a multiplayer title yet. Overall, it's been interesting following Lehto's posts. He has a passion for the franchise that aligns with what players expect from it, but he's also realistic about those expectations. We're curious what you think his tweets suggest for the future of Battlefield. Are you excited to hear about upgrades for Frostbite? What kind of features do you think it needs the most? Let us know in the comments. Gamers are outraged that the upcoming action brawler Gotham Knights is limited to 30 FPS on current-gen consoles. An executive producer revealed the technical limitations in the game's Discord server. His statement explains that the limit isn't just about graphical fidelity. The game is a fully open-world co-op that lets all players roam without being tethered. The demand of that system, plus the high detail of the game's environment, means lowering resolution won't inherently increase frame rates. This suggests that the game is massively CPU bound, so the resolution isn't necessarily a major determining factor. The news and explanation received a healthy dose of criticism from expecting players. Comparisons with Rocksteady's Arkham games were drawn, with many saying that those games look and run better than Gotham Knights. Since every game is different, it's hard to draw such a direct comparison, but it's worth noting that Gotham Knights has been delayed multiple times and had its last-gen version cancelled to save resources. The silver lining is that PC players will get to enjoy 60 FPS on minimum recommended hardware. Voice acting and game industry veteran Helena Taylor released a series of videos this weekend detailing her absence from the upcoming Switch game Bayonetta 3. Taylor voice acted the franchise's title character for the previous 2 installments, but was replaced by Jennifer Hale for the new game. According to the studio, scheduling conflicts prevented Taylor from reprising the role. However, Taylor says the studio's final offer of $4,000 to do the entire role made her decline. That rate is well below what you would expect for a feature role in such a massive franchise. Taylor called the offer insulting and said that she was just asking for a dignified living wage. The game's director released a series of tweets that essentially amount to calling the claims untrue. However, his account was temporarily suspended for mass banning replying accounts. Taylor's story isn't an isolated incident in the voice acting world. Brian DeChart from Detroit Become Human says another AAA studio tried to hire him, but they only offered $4,000 for his role, so he turned it down. We've also seen several similar stories from anime productions, with headline actors being replaced without a clear explanation. It's tough to say for sure what's going on. It could be an issue with Japanese companies trying to avoid the expense of working with union actors. In DeChart's case, he says the studio refused to register their project with the union representing him, Taylor, and most other Western actors. It could also be related to sales projections made during the pandemic just not aligning with the post-pandemic reality that we find ourselves in today. Whatever the case, Taylor's story has gained massive traction with fans of Bayonetta and gamers in general. She called for a boycott of the game, asking for people to pledge their money to a charity instead. The revival of G4 is officially over. The legendary network TV program originally aired in the early 2000s, bringing gaming news and reviews to mainstream audiences worldwide. It helped bridge the gap between gamers and, well, everyone else in the world, while launching the careers of gaming media's biggest stars like Adam Sessler, Jeff Keighley, Morgan Webb, and Olivia Munn. It went off the air in 2014, but returned with some of the original cast in late 2021. The relaunch included shows on Comcast TV's network with complimentary online programming and streams. And while fans celebrated the revival, it just failed to find a broad audience, and viewership numbers simply weren't enough to keep it in production. This is likely due to a variety of factors. Game media has changed a ton since G4 was the biggest name in the industry. Much of what they did has been replaced by independent creators. They also had trouble licensing esports content, which had a significant impact on the content that they could offer. Overall, it's sad news, especially considering everyone working on G4 found out that they were fired via a tweet that leaked the company memo. Silent Hill is finally back on the menu at Konami. The publisher announced an official live stream is happening Wednesday to reveal the future of the long-dormant franchise. The last Silent Hill game, the infamous PT demo for Silent Hills, launched in 2014 as a teaser for the full release. Konami canceled the project when they fired director Hideo Kojima. Rumors and leaks suggest multiple Silent Hill games are in active development. One of these projects was recently rated in Korea, but the rating doesn't offer any specifics. Nvidia responded to allegations that their upcoming RTX 4080 12GB edition GPU was a glorified 4070 by unlaunching the card. They said the GPU wasn't named right and was confusing for consumers. They're canceling its November 16th launch so that they can rebrand it as a different model. Nvidia is allegedly offering to repay manufacturers who will have to replace all the packaging that they already made. It's unclear if they'll be changing the price of the GPU or not. Splinter Cell fans got a new blow to the heart as Ubisoft announced the director on a remake of the first game has left the studio. David Grivell was working on the title since November and previously worked on Splinter Cell Blacklist, among other major titles. His departure might not be a massive blow to the project, but Ubisoft did say that they're rewriting and updating the story to fit modern-day players. So it's likely that a lot is going on with the game beyond just updating the graphics. Before we get to our next story, I just wanted to say thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all the support and attention, whether it's comments, subscribing to the channel, or even becoming a channel member. All of it is greatly appreciated. So thanks so much for dropping by, hanging out, and staying up to date with the gaming news. Overwatch 2 has tripled the original game's peak players despite a laundry list of technical issues and negative feedback from players. According to Activision Blizzard, the game hit 25 million players in 10 days. Its daily peak player count is triple the original game so far. Those are some massive numbers, but it is worth pointing out that Overwatch 2 entirely replaced the original game. So any Overwatch 1 players are pretty much obligated to come over to the sequel. Double XP weekends intended to compensate players for the launch issues will start on October 21st. Now, if you guys missed my Friday video showing a playthrough of Warhammer 40k Darktide, I highly recommend checking it out. I was very much surprised by the quality of that game, the visuals of the game, and just how much fun I was having with it. It's kind of a Left 4 Dead or Vermintide style game. I think a lot of FPS fans out there are really going to enjoy this one when it launches. Check out the video, it's certainly worth a watch. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.